All right, well, welcome to the Cochrane Show. I'm John Cochrane. That's Lauren Anderson. And Lauren, man, we've got some Golden State Warriors basketball to talk about. What a weekend it was.
It was huge. Huge. I feel like last week we were lamenting about how the roller coaster was stuck, and I feel like we're just clicking up at the moment. Just a couple really encouraging wins, and even an encouraging loss. Like
Almost two encouraging losses, right? Like they showed so much fight against the Oklahoma City Thunder. It started off grim, but then Pat Spencer came in and sort of turned things around in that second half. And then against Philadelphia, that was just unfortunate. I mean, really, this road trip should have been 3-0.
it's incredible. They played their hearts out, but like Azubuike was saying in the commentating, you got to get the ball in bounds. Buddy Hield had to catch that pass from Pat Spencer and from that sideline inbound, but
Yeah.
that was brutal. That was brutal. That chase
Yeah.
down block. I mean, to be fair, Philadelphia deserved to win that game in the end. But to see that the Warriors were at one point like down 20 and were able to come back and they looked like they were going to seal the win. There's a lot of positive things to take away from that.
And then Cleveland, I mean, Cleveland was on the second half of a back-to-back. But Cleveland has never been a good matchup for Golden State. They typically dominate, but Quentin Post was doing work in the post against the defensive player of the year, Mobley. I was shocked. It was the Pat Spencer game, but I think in these three games, Post has really stepped up. You don't notice the absence of Al Horford, even Trace Jackson Davis, right? Like,
But
who's loving?
I wondered too if that is the Al Horford effect, right?
True.
Like you bring in a savvy veteran who knows that the clock is ticking and is just going to impart his wisdom to a couple of young guns who are super hungry. And I was really impressed with Quinton Post last season, the way he came in and you could see intensity wise, he wants to do the right thing every time he's got the ball. And to have a veteran in his corner, because the game's a little bit different for Draymond Green. And if Draymond Green is the center that is his veteran, that's a little bit different to Al Horford's game. And I think Al Horford and Quinton Post is a nice comparison. They're both really good shooters. They both have an inside presence. They're both tall enough to be able to get boards, but also space the floor well. So I think that's a really nice link.
And DeAnthony Melton made his return against Cleveland, or did he return against Philly? I forget.
No, he played against Philly as well.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Obviously trying to have a slow ramp up in progression, but he's looking solid. Looks like he fits right in.
Exactly. He's another high quality player. Didn't he play for Philadelphia before he came across?
Yeah, Philadelphia. He did play for them. He played for Memphis, and Golden State. I'm sure there are some other teams in there.
Yeah, but he just comes across as like a starting level sort of like point guard who just knows how to play the game the right way. And I think also if you're drawing comparisons, this is another person who can kind of show Pods the ropes a little bit and hopefully get him to the place where he can be the next Steph Curry in one day, but he'll need a few more guys. He'll need a few more guys in his corner keeping him accountable. So we'll see what happens.
I mean, he's stepped up the last few games. I was really, his shot's looking good. He's not trying to do too much. He's not taking as many charges as he used to. Like, is he starting to think I'm too valuable? I'm too good to take charges? I don't know, but
come on, man.
Hey.
That would be brutal. That would be brutal if he's like, right, I got to cement myself here. I'm not going to hit charges. But that was one of his skills. He was fantastic at being able to change the momentum of a game. And, taking charges, that's an underrated skill in the NBA, man. If you can lead the league in that. And I think those kinds of players who can get charges as much as like guys like Kyle Lowry, for example, they were dudes who just had such high NBA basketball IQs. Right place, right time, every time. And just being able to bait fouls kind of thing.
That's not a knock on Pods. I just think he's coming up to a contract year, right? He hasn't made that first contract since his rookie deal yet, and I do think there's something to be said of making sure you're healthy to get that money and making sure that, what's gonna put the money in the bank, it's what you do on offense. Unless you're defensive player of the year, all NBA, defense player. I think players are thinking about getting, that bag from,
think I think too, he knows he's got to be on the floor to be able to get that bag and show that bag. And at the moment, that playing time is tight in Golden State. You got so many guards. You got so many small forwards in that roster or shooting guards. It's hard to get time. And so if you want to be on the floor, you have to play high quality. You got to be listening to what Steve Kerr is saying, and you got to be producing it on the court. Otherwise, Buddy Hield, D'Anthony Melton, Seth Curry, GP2. Who am I missing? You know what I mean? Like you've got a lot of guys that would gladly step in and take those minutes, especially with Steph being out.
Guy Santos has stepped up. Pat Spencer.
Pat Spencer, of course. Who? What? He is that much.
You know who Pat Spencer reminds me of? And
Who's
look,
your favorite?
I know I can be this person 100%. He reminds me of that player that you go to play pickup basketball with. The Warriors' problem, let me just say this sometimes, is sometimes, the term like try hard?
Okay.
Sometimes I feel like Pajemski or Kaminga or Moody, like they don't put in the try hard effort like when you're going to play pickup basketball at the YMCA or whatever, and there's that player that is just going like 200%, like playing its game 7 of the NBA finals. But that's what Pat Spencer does game in and game out. Like he is like, I don't care. I'm going to be that guy. And I'm going to just out hustle and outwork everyone on the floor.
Those guys used to drive me nuts when we were playing down the rec league. You'd go there and you just want to be able to shoot a bunch of threes, not play defense, and just have a good run. And then you get these guys who are like, bro, it's Monday night. We got to make it to the weekend yet. Just chill. I'll save my A game for the games on the weekend, but
I'll speak on the other player's behalf because I know that I can be that man. It is so hard just for me, any type of competitive sport, it's 0% or 100%. Like I don't have any of this 50, 60, 40% effort. I just don't know how to turn it off. And maybe that's Pat Spencer as well. So give us a break here, Lauren.
no, but watching Pat Spencer and looking at what he's done with his life, holy, to be a record-setting lacrosse player and then to be a dual athlete who just comes across and is like, I mean, he could be playing professional lacrosse, right? And with his talent and with his foundation, he would be a Hall of Famer, right? He's not going to be a Hall of Famer in the NBA, and yet he's not only backing up Steph Curry, but he's coming in to be trusted by Steve Kerr, the coach of the American Olympic team. Huge honor. And to see him come in, I mean, last year, I remember when he started playing, I did a double take. I was like, who is this guy? What's he doing on the roster? And he would get these fringe minutes, 2 minutes at the end of games if the game was decided or whatever. And I thought to myself, I wonder how long he's going to be on the bench for. He's still on the bench. And now he's starting and he's playing meaningful minutes. And even today against the Bulls, he just had the discipline to be able to move the ball side to side, search out for shots and players that were getting open, try and shift the defense, and was putting up mature shots as well. Mm-hmm. Like not hurried in just the right amount of time. And you almost could forgive him for not being as competitive when you see how in control he is. But then when he's waving to the crowd after free throws, oh my God.
Or giving the Johnny Manziel money sign in Cleveland.
Yeah. And that is in the pickup game. Those are the guys that you just like rolling your eyes with, just like you're like weeks away. You were weeks away removed from riding the bench, and now you're doing money signs. Like,
Yeah. In a
man,
place
the
where
guy has
Golden State
power.
Warriors have
You don't always get chances in life to make the most of, but he is making the most of it. And we got to come up with a better name than Linsanity. We got to get a good nickname going for this, because this is good. This is good for Golden
well,
State.
I reckon they have that nickname. I don't know if we can say it on the Cochrane Show, but that mother I'll tell you what. I'll tell you who absolutely loves this team right now. Steve Kerr. I haven't seen him have this much passion in his coaching, maybe since he's been coaching in the NBA. Right? He was gifted this high functioning, high expectation, high talented team where if you go back, he's sitting on the bench for half the games because he knows even if we're down going into halftime, we're going to have a 40-point third quarter and,
Or he's
blow the
doing
game.
these ones being like, what is Steph doing? He's
Yeah.
just shaking
Yeah.
his head.
A few clipboards breaking. So there's those years, right? And then there was after the Kevin Durant leaving, Klay Thompson torn ACL, no expectations. We're tanking for James Wiseman. And then comes in this 2 timeline thing where it's more frustration than it is. Oh, sorry, they won 2022. I'm sure that was a great year, but just watching him
That was
coach,
a roller coaster year too. That was really
that
up and
was.
down. They did come into themselves towards the latter end of the season. And if I remember correctly, they had to pull off a lot of wins in the tail end of the season to make that happen that year.
Yeah. I mean, they started the year 18-2. Klay Thompson came back, and I think they went 500 for the rest of the year.
Yeah, right.
But they were on a losing streak going into the playoffs. Anyhow, I just love watching Steve Kerr right now, and the fact that he gave Jonathan Kaminga a DNP, playing
Man,
Guy Santos, playing Pat Spencer, like some two-way contract guys. Will Richard, who is playing out of his mind, like he is just a Warriors player. It's so funny. People say that Steve Kerr doesn't trust young guys, but that's not what it is. There's something about Kaminga and Moody specifically that there's something they're doing wrong that is
I don't
causing
get
this.
it. I don't get it. I would love to know. And I was thinking about this today. This is the interesting thing, that the vets aren't coming out and saying it. Like, Jimmy Butler's not making it obvious. Draymond Green, who normally says probably too much on his podcast, hasn't said anything about this situation. Um, we haven't heard Steph talking about this too much. And so I am so curious how a guy that they've just given $25 million to is getting DNPs when it's sort of widely rumored that they want to trade him.
Yeah.
There
But they
hasn't
also
been,
want to win. Can I give you
yeah,
some stats, Lauren?
but you like, this just seems like a lose-lose situation for both the player, team, the
Could it be that the more they play him, the lower his value goes?
yeah, okay.
So get this. I've got some on-off stats for Jonathan Kaminga the last 2 years.
Hit me.
So, based off of Jonathan Kaminga's on the floor stats, if he played 82 games, what would his contribution to wins be in those 82 games? Does that make sense? So how many games would a team win in an 82 game season with this efficiency differential? Minus 24 games this year, minus 9 games last year. 2022, 2023 was minus 12. Rookie year, minus 16. He's had one
Yeah.
plus year, 2023, 2024. Okay, so
Wow.
the eye test shows that he is talented, but the statistics show that he is costing wins more than he is creating wins for this organization.
Yeah, right.
So like so his on-off stats they're just not his points per 100 possessions. with him on the floor. So 25 this year, which ends up giving like the Warriors offense -4. So
Hey,
his
Phoenix Suns, is that Devin Booker guy available?
yeah, yeah. Or Dylan Brooks, like so I know it seems unfair the way they are treating Jonathan Kaminga, but at the end of the day, I think it's about winning. And what he needs is that mother effing attitude that Pat Spencer has. Like, he needs some of that sauce, and I think Steve Kerr is just making a point, like, your talent is not just gonna it's not just your talent that's gonna get you on the floor. Like, we need effort, we need rebounds, we need defense. Make the pass.
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah, I was reading about I didn't watch the game against Cleveland, but he played in that to the begin with, right? Or what was his
Yeah.
first games back? It was Cleveland, right? Or if it was
No,
showing
Cleveland,
Philadelphia.
he he's been playing for a little bit, yeah. Really, when Steph Curry went down, he came back.
Yeah. But I mean, one of the reporters who was watching him when it his first game back was just like, "Oh yeah, he got the ball and he dribbled and he dribbled and he dribbled and he dribbled, and then the play went on from there." But the fact that they have to say dribbled like multiple times is kind of a bit telling on a pace and space kind of team. It's
Yeah.
not great.
And it's not dribbling to Pat Spencer right now is dribbling the ball a little bit because it's a pick and roll type offense, and you're waiting to see where's that double team or where's the defender being sucked in, and he's making the right pass. So he's dribbling to set up a pass. Kaminga
Mhm.
seems to just be dribbling to clear out and just see what he can create on his own.
Yeah,
Um, and it's just not effective. So,
yeah.
and then
It's
you
just,
got
it's a bizarre situation, and yeah, you can look at it from multiple different angles, and it just must be exhausting for everybody. But to have this constant undercurrent and this constant, like, it's one thing if the player is super humble and just gets in the gym and works their tail off, and then you can see the development over time. But this guy's stuck around for a long time, and to still be in this same position a year later. You know what I mean? Like it's rough. It's rough to watch. I feel for him because as a player, I've been really grateful to be on some teams where I've been in the starting lineup. I've been on some teams where I've come off the bench and been the sixth man. And I've been on some teams with some guys that were brilliant. And so I played those 2 minutes at the end. And it sucks to sit. You can't get into it's hard to get into a rhythm. It's hard to be the one. And see, if you've played a couple of games and then all of a sudden you're facing DNPs, that's hard to get into a rhythm to break out of it. But that's where, the attention to detail is just so important. Go in,
yeah,
don't necessarily focus on putting the ball in the basket. That's not what they need you to do. What they really need you to do is go after it with all the athleticism and make the plays, change the game on defense to begin with, and then the other side's going to take care of itself.
yeah. Make the other team feel you, right? Like, get into somebody. Don't just jog back if you didn't make the shot. Like, get back and make a play. When he's sitting on the bench against Chicago today, I think he had two numbers in his head. I think number one was he's counting down the days to when he's eligible to be traded, and number two, he's sitting there. I'm making $25 million to sit here.
Yeah,
Look, like
that's tough.
that's
Yeah, on the as a competitor who's playing at the highest level, you want to be on the floor, and a lot of
you
guys would
do.
take money to be on the floor to be on the floor. But you've got a small window to make as much money as you possibly can. And if this gives you 3 extra years on the other end because you're picking up a lot of rest in these early years, yeah, take it. That's one more contract you can sign. And 25 million is a nice amount of money to be having. Normally people pay for courtside seats, right, John? Like
Yeah,
the
yeah, he gets
thousands of dollars. You're getting paid to be there on the front row.
yeah, to watch the one of the greatest players of all time in Steph Curry, and yeah, you're getting great tickets. You're getting paid a lot of money to not do much.
Yeah. Yeah.
Um, But, so Warriors there, what are they? 13 and 12 now. They have I think they have 2 games in 10 days, so they're going to get their veterans back. Steph Curry will be back for the Minnesota game, which was added to the calendar. It's like a in-season tournament replacement game that they play. So Curry will be back. I think that game's on Friday or Saturday, depending on where you live in the world. So I
On a
think things are
scale
looking up.
before we move on from the Warriors, on a scale of 1 to 10, what on a scale of 1 to 10, how likely is it that Jonathan Kaminga suits up for the Warriors in the playoffs?
Wait, so 10 is likely and 0 is unlikely?
Yeah, yeah.
-10.
-10. You think he will not finish the season on this team?
No chance. At
No
the
chance.
start of the year, I had at right now, I'm gonna say no chance. At the start of the year, I had hopes maybe that
Yeah,
he would be. I
yeah,
had, because you get invested into these teams, you get invested into these players, and as much as they can frustrate you, like Curry frustrates me, Draymond Green bugs the crap out of me. Uh, but they're your team. So I wanted it to work out, but I think it's best for both sides that they have a mutual breakup,
What
right?
about what about Moses Moody?
I 6.
Okay. Interesting.
6. And
Interesting.
I just think that, well, do I I'm gonna put Moody, sorry, at an 8, but I'm gonna put Pods at a 5.
Wow,
I was trying
interesting.
to think which one of those players would need to be attached in a trade with Kaminga, and I think Pods probably has a little bit more value around the league than Moody does, so I think people are gonna be asking for Pods to be a add-on.
Yeah, okay. A bit of insurance on the Kaminga experiment.
Yeah, yeah. Insurance, make the money work even. He's sort
I
of
will
I
say,
think
will say, if and when this takes place, Kaminga's first game against the Warriors will be must-watch TV.
oh, yeah. Yes, it will
There'll
be.
be a lot in that. There'll be a lot in that.
Yeah, he's not, I think him and the players are probably pretty cool, but him and Kerr.
Yeah, that'll be interesting.
But I wonder just sorry, with Green and Curry coming back, the rotation. I mean, Pat Spencer, he's that guy right now, but is he that guy over Pajemski? What are their minutes like when Curry comes back? Guy Santos, he's getting minutes right now. What's that like when Draymond Green comes back? Seth Curry, Melton, Moody, like they've got so many of these players that are all competing. They've got a log jam. Um,
And this is something we've talked about in previous weeks of like when Steph is on the floor, it's a very unique way of playing basketball. When he's not out there, it's a little more traditional. And like just making distinctions between those styles even in game is going to be interesting. But off the top of my head, I can't think of certain teams that Pat Spencer would be uh, more of an advantage over Pajemski. But I think I guess depends which pod shows up on any given day. You know, because
Let me pose
that
this
mother
question.
he'll show up.
I got to ask this question. A scale of 1 to 10 question for you as well.
Right. Hit me.
10 being likely, 1 being no chance in hell. What are the chances at some point this year Draymond Green comes off the bench?
I think it's really likely. I think that'd be 8 or 9. You'd have to
Not
have
due
a.
to injury, but due to roster. It's his Klay Thompson year.
This is interesting. This is interesting because he's one of those guys who talks a lot about respect. I think the organization and Steve Kerr does have respect for him. Oh, yeah, that's a good question. I'm going to go right down in the middle, and well, a little bit above middle. I'll say maybe a 6 or a 7. I think if the proof is in the pudding, so to
6,
speak,
7?
as in like a 7, as in it's likely. Like it's more than 50% chance that it'll happen in the sense that I think if they're winning some games that they shouldn't and guys are playing out, And if Steve Kerr asks him to do that, I think that would be a real big demonstration to the team of how much Draymond Green believes in the team, and that would be a massive leadership marker from him.
Yeah, I
So
mean, I think in the regular season, what I'm noticing is teams that are winning are running, right? Teams
yeah,
that are winning a lot are just playing at such a frantic pace. People saw what uh, the Pacers did last year and how
mm,
that pace really was effective. And it's a copycat league. And so other teams are trying to copy that style of play. And the Warriors just and the Clippers are like the two slowest teams in the NBA, like by far. Um, you need to be able to slow down, so you need that, in the postseason specifically, it becomes a slower game, but in the regular season, like, these young guys, they're just running the floor. They're playing hard defense and they're running.
that's why Philadelphia won. They ran the
Yep,
floor. Tyrese
yep.
Maxey balls, he runs the floor, he gets the block to save the game. This is, exactly it. That lead out pass was long. Melton thought he had it, but not a chance. So I think you're right. I think you're right.
Yeah, and I think with Draymond Green, he slows it down. He
Mm.
slows he doesn't get back fast. He gets in his own head and so I think he could come off the bench, but a team that has some more issues than the Golden State Warriors right now is the Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee is in a really interesting time.
That was scary to watch. Giannis's non-contact injury, and to see him go down, and yeah, I hope he gets back onto the floor really quickly. But
What was the diagnosis of the injury? I didn't even see
oh,
what.
they said a calf strain, so just a
Okay.
simple calf strain. But thankfully, it's not anything more sinister. Yeah, what do the Bucks do?
So these rumors have been obviously happening for years, right? Of trades, and it's percolated, and I think there's legitimacy this time. Yeah, so Lauren, you were
It's
just about to
not that
pose
the
the question.
Milwaukee Bucks. Then it's not like the Milwaukee Bucks haven't tried to appease Giannis and really move this team, but they just haven't been able to get everybody on the thing. What's your question? What's your question?
Well, you're gonna pose it, like, do they trade Giannis?
Well, it sounds like from around the pods that I've been listening to, from Bill Simmons to Zach Lowe, and some of the stuff I've been reading, it sounds like it's moving more towards being more likely than less likely. Um, just because the reality of the situation is that even in a wide open East, um, the Bucks are not a clear cut favorite to be able to get out of it. You know, Detroit has been playing amazing. Um, you know, Toronto has been surprising people. New York is starting to come alive and show everybody who they really are. And I think it's clear to everybody in the league that Milwaukee is not going to be like, certainly a top four team, if you will. And that's not going to be enough to get them along the line. So, you can keep trying or the reality sets in. So, but the numbers are tough. The numbers are really tough. So,
Yeah.
where does it go?
I mean, you're right, but even if the Bucks are likely to make the playoffs, but they're a first round exit, like you either risk losing him in free agency, which I almost guarantee he doesn't stick around in free agency, or you get what you can. Now, but our team's on the other side going, well, we can just wait a year and get him for free. Like, we don't have to give up our assets and our draft capital. We can try and get him in free agency, or do teams say, what is I mean, if Gobert and Cat, like if these guys are getting 4 first round picks, what is the asking price for Giannis plus that $50 million that you have to put in there? Like this isn't just about the Warriors, like Jimmy Butler's type contract. And the Warriors would obviously do that, but the Bucks, I don't think the Warriors could offer anything. Um, the Spurs seem to be an interesting. People are really talking about the Spurs having interest in getting Giannis. Could you imagine Giannis and Wemby as your front court?
That you would change the game of basketball. yeah, 100% change the game of basketball with those two guys up the front. Like, it would be wild if you could get a couple of shooters there. It would just be Giannis down low, pick and pop with with Wemby. Just the
Yeah.
amount of length, the defense, it would be horrendous. I'm having nightmares just even thinking about it. Thinking about the what it would be like to play with guys that tall in the rec league. Like, it'd just be insane. It'd be insane. It'd be fun to watch. It would be absolute like it would be the perfect thing for the NBA because you'd be creating this super team that is something that nobody has ever seen before. So, in the interest of the league, it would be just amazing. But
Would that be the greatest front court of all time in your opinion?
I would want to see it before I make that judgment. But
Yeah,
it
come
would
on, but just for this conversation, Lauren,
like
hypothetically,
trying to think of Tim Duncan and
and
what's his
the
name?
Admiral,
The Admiral. Yeah. Oh man, the name escapes me right now. But that's
Robin,
pretty tough.
uh, Robinson, is it Robinson?
Yeah.
David Robinson?
There you
Am I
go.
going? Yeah.
Yeah, I mean,
Yeah.
that would be maybe the closest comparison, but, yeah. No,
All
I
right.
think
So in that trade, you would have Giannis for De'Aaron Fox, who's at 37 million. Giannis is on 54 million. So you'd have to have De'Aaron Fox, Devin Vassell. You can give up Vassell, right? So that's money. Contractually, that works. You're already there. In fact, you'd probably have to take Kyle Kuzma and maybe give Harrison Barnes to make the money work. And then they've got a lot of draft capital to the Spurs. So really, like, it's a realistic possibility. Like, they're one of the few teams that can make it work contractually, and have the draft capital that Milwaukee might pick up the phone and be interested.
it's, yeah, I mean, one of the things that would be a nightmare, though, and I think this is what, sort of Dallas is learning here, is that when you let one of these perennial all-stars who is, like, physically and, just talent-wise gifted far above and beyond what anybody could ever imagine, you're in for a rough couple of years. Like, Cooper Flag has shown some flashes, and Anthony Davis has had a couple of nice games, but it's just not the same, right? Like, Luka being the face of the franchise in a particular way brings a whole lot of pride to a city and an organization, and the fans rightfully so push back. And so any way you go in Milwaukee is going to be is similar. I think the only difference would be that the writing's been on the wall in Milwaukee for a lot longer. And so I think as an organization, this is kind of like when Edmonton, a slow burn, let go of Wayne Gretzky. Nobody wanted it to happen, but everybody knew that it was going to happen at some
Mhm.
stage. And
Yeah.
maybe a little bit different because Edmonton was still in a winning position. Um, but
Yeah. I mean, with the Dallas thing, right? It's not like the Bucks were in the finals last year. Like, Dallas got rid of Luka when they were in the finals. I think the fans of Milwaukee would know that the writing's on the wall. Like, this is the smart move.
for sure,
You
for
don't
sure.
have any of your own draft picks, like, for the foreseeable future. You're stuck in not even mediocrity. You're stuck in we're crappy.
Yeah, yeah. No, I agree. I mean, something has to happen, and yeah, if I was the Bucks, I'd be wanting to pull the trigger and make the trade so that you can start getting assets in return and draft picks for that matter if you can swing it. Especially if Gobert is getting as many as he did. Like you just think this is an upgrade on Gobert. So, make it rain. But
That
it would be
trade that trade ruined trades. That just put inflation on people's value all across the NBA.
oh man, there's a cost of playing crisis.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I don't think I'm wrong. I think everybody looks at, GMs and agents are looking at what are other people valued
Oh,
at, and
100%.
Rudy Gobert getting 4 first-round picks from Utah Jazz is hysterical.
But I think the difference is too is that if they're going to move on from Giannis, for all that he's done for that city, I think they would do right by him. They're not going to slight him. This is not going to be a Dallas trade in which he's going to be surprised. This is not going to be a Chris Paul situation where he's on the plane and he's finding out when we're finding out. This is a situation where he is going to they're going to look after him for sure. And I think that unfortunately, that may mean that they get a compromise package, coming back if it's to a location that Giannis has signed off on. But I think he's in a lot more control of where he's going than some other players. So,
How about the Lakers? Could the
but
Lakers do a LeBron James? Oh, he's got no trade clause, so that won't happen. But
no, they're not going to move on from LeBron. No, and no team in their right mind is taking back LeBron. Right, like he's retiring at the end of this year, or at least sometime in the next 5. Right, he has to.
yeah, yeah.
But yeah, no, I think you mentioned San Antonio. Some of the other teams that have been floated is Miami. Like at least at least the winters in Miami are a little more pleasurable than they are in Milwaukee and Wisconsin. But yeah, you've
All
been
right.
looking
So
at Norm Powell, Tyler Hero. You've been looking at Wiggins. You've been trying to get some guys back who can at least try and sell you some tickets.
tell me if this trade, what would it be? Sorry, all right. Something like this. So the Bucks the Bucks receive Hachimura, Vanderbilt, Kleber, and Austin Reeves, and whatever the draft capital would be, and the Lakers get Giannis.
Do you think Luka and Giannis could coexist in the same way?
I do.
You
I
do?
do. Yeah.
Thing is with the Lakers, I feel like the Lakers are overperforming at this time because of how Austin Reeves is playing. And I think Austin Reeves can play the way he does because Luka's on the floor. In the sense that they've got such a like the way in which this team is constructed. I think if you send Austin Reeves and you hope that he is your um sort of that's the star in the trade and he goes to Milwaukee. I'm not sure if he's playing the same way in Milwaukee as he would be in Los Angeles.
I mean, didn't he score 50 when Luka and LeBron were out this year?
Yeah, no, he did, but I almost think it's contextual. Maybe Doc Rivers will get the same out of him, but yeah,
I don't think in any trade are you for the Bucks, are you trying to be good in the next 5 years? Like I just don't think that's what any of this is about. I think it's you are at least putting a carrot in front of your fan base for the next 10 years to say we're building something, like trust the process, so to
yeah,
speak.
okay, yeah, fair, fair.
I mean, LA just seems to be able to get these guys.
They do, but you just got Luka. So if the league didn't rescind a trade, man, just those 3 guys, that would be nuts. That would be absolute mental. But I don't know if it would be as beneficial for the Lakers as what it would necessarily sound. But maybe I'm wrong. Probably I'm
Do you,
wrong.
do you mess with anything in OKC?
To bring in Giannis, I would not.
Yeah.
Not a thing. Not a thing. When you are 23-1 and your star player is almost going to be ineligible for end of season reward awards because he's missed a quarter of the season because he's not playing any of the fourth quarters. That would be wild. And still averaging 33% on like just the most efficient, performances we've ever seen. This team as constructed, I think it could be if they go on to win the most games in NBA history, you say this is one of the perfect teams, like in terms of team construction. And yes, you could get greedy, but why? Why? Like,
Don't mess
yeah,
with it.
yeah. I don't think that there is another team that is a Giannis away from being able to dethrone OKC this year. And so I don't think that they need to be worried.
Houston?
But who are you giving up? You would have to send Sengun or Amen Thompson. Both players are
Yeah.
fundamental to their team
I
construction.
wouldn't. Sorry, go.
You would. I think. What are you going to trade Durant for those guys? Like, I don't think that works.
No, you keep Alman Thompson. I think Sengun is very tradable, and I think we're going to see in the playoffs this year his limitations again. I just think he's a limited player. I know he has good regular seasons. I'm not a huge fan of him, so I would put him in the trade in a heartbeat. I'd put Reed Shepherd in the trade in a heartbeat. I would put Jabari Smith in the trade in a heartbeat to get Giannis. Like those three players with some draft picks. Add Van Fleet. I think you'd need. I don't know if you can trade injured players, but you'd need his 40 million or whatever he's making to make the trade work. Kevin Durant, Amon Thompson, Giannis, not bad.
Yeah, I mean, this we'll wait and see. It's you're taking a huge swing, huge, but
Someone's got to, right? Like OKC isn't going anywhere.
that's true. That's true. And Antetokounmpo has won. He's won it all, and so he knows what to do to get a team over the hump. And I'm sure this is another guy who'll get moved before the end of the year.
You know who hasn't been able to get a team over the hump?
Chris Paul.
Chris Paul. Chris Paul got let go. I don't think he's actually let go yet. I think he just got sent home. So he's still like on the books of the Clippers, but not with the organization. It's a really weird situation. I don't know what to. I think, Lauren, I think we're going to have two very different takes on this Chris Paul situation. Because I am not just going to have a knee-jerk reaction that the rest of the world has had. How could you send this guy home packing? You don't do something without reason. You don't do something unless he has said something or he is creating some sort of rift or divide or culture break in that locker room. Look, he's not the reason why they're losing, but while you're losing, you don't want that guy in your locker room that is creating even more issues for you.
Even if that guy is speaking the truth.
Look, you can always speak the truth, but sometimes there's ways to speak the truth.
Oh, you're right. You're right. Yeah, this is one of these ones where I can't wait till the beat reporter who's, traveling with the team and hearing all the goss or whatever gets to the bottom of this story. But you got to say that CP's generation and above, they are coming to his defense like you wouldn't believe. Like, his reputation is preceding him, and these guys are calling out how disrespectful it is to send him home. But, there are times when you can only take so much of what you can take, and then it's just like, enough, shut up, just go home, go home.
Think what Ty Lue's going through, right? His team sucks after being decent. As Stephen A. Smith would say, and maybe Bill Simmons, they have the worst superstar in NBA history, and Kawhi Leonard just doesn't play. James Harden seems to be the most consistent player, which is hilarious that James Harden, who tanked the Brooklyn Nets hopes, who forced his way out of countless situations, is like your cornerstone. But anyhow, Ty Lue, that's what he's going through. He's probably wondering, when is the FBI coming to my door to investigate about this backroom poker stuff that what was his name? Chauncey Billups got in trouble for. Like, his stress levels just must be an all-time high. And then having this little 40-year-old nagging you, get him out.
Yeah. Wow. And then they turn around and win big. But it's another one of these curious situations. You look and you're like, man, I wish I was on the plane hearing the stories, hearing how it went down. It does sound like the Clippers. I mean, everybody knows the Clippers are in a really rough situation. They came in with high hopes, thinking that they were going to get a good year out of Brook Lopez and Kawhi would finally be healthy. It's just not. I mean, and we've had debates about James Harden for years, talking about him and just hopes about how much he would be able to move the needle for different teams that he's been on. And it's just, it will be, do you think he's a Hall of Famer? It'll be one of the most like almost disappointing ends to a season, like this biggest what if sort of player
Do
in,
I think James Harden is a Hall of Famer?
yeah,
Oh, if Chris Paul's a Hall of Famer, which most people think he is, James Harden's a Hall of Famer.
it's got to be with the beard and with the averaging a triple double and
He's got the
MVP.
second most 3-pointers in NBA history.
Yeah.
He carried the Houston Rockets. Yeah.
But also,
Look, James
just
Harden's grandma can get in
so,
the Hall of Fame. Like, I'm so over the Hall of Fame.
so, so inconsistent in the playoffs. And this is
Yeah.
and this is what leads to this big what if of like the talent is there, you know, but just what happens? What happens consistently? What happens? It happened in Brooklyn. It happened in Philadelphia. It happened in Los Angeles. It's happened in Houston. Every single way, every single place, there's been a stain on the playoff performance in some form, in which it's just is now not what like as just has been one of the greatest regular season players that the league has
Yeah.
ever seen. And that's not who a guy like Steve Ballmer can trust. But what was it? Yeah, this is a really bad season for the Clippers, and a return to like franchise sort of like discombobulation, or like what's the like just a franchise that doesn't know what it's doing, a franchise in chaos again.
Yeah. I just wish teams should have learned from Brooklyn Nets when they tried to recreate the Boston Celtics, right? When they traded for Kevin Garnett, and that sort of sent their team into this tailspin for the next number of years. The Clippers have done something similar here. Now, of course, you're going to trade for George, and you're going to trade for Kawhi Leonard in that moment. But now the ripple effects of what they've done, even with James Harden, like the ripple effects is you have zero future. You've got this most amazing stadium. You've got a great owner, but in terms of assets moving forward, you're the oldest team in the league. You don't have your own draft pick this year. It will go to OKC, I believe. If there's some sort of protection, but it will most likely go to OKC. It's just real grim. It's dark. It's dark over there. But with James Harden, sorry, Lauren, I could not stand James Harden when he was in Houston. I couldn't stand him even in Philly. This version of James Harden, though, I've come to respect a little bit more, just because he's completely changed the way he plays. And I would love to see this version of him in the playoffs, right? He's in Houston, he was like Luka. Not saying he was at Luka's caliber, but he was that one man offense where he's going to be the offense, and then he'll drive and kick, or he'll dribble, step back three, get fouled. And um, that stuff really frustrated me. But now, like averaging more than 10 assists, he is like moved from shooting guard, small forward to point guard. And um, he's completely changed the way he plays, and he's probably added years to his relativity in the NBA.
And it's unfortunate that unless there's a miracle, there will not be any playoff basketball for the Clippers, which to me is astounding. At the start of the year, I had the Clippers. I was more optimistic about the Clippers than I was the Lakers this year. And the Clippers have only won 6 games. They're second last in the Western Conference. And it doesn't look like there'll be a meaningful shift unless a team like Memphis starts to fall again when Morant comes back. But it's just a bad situation. So on the other hand, like if Chris Paul is looking at this, he's announced his retirement, and he does want to get his flowers. This is a rough way to do it. And if he wants to stay in LA and and just go across the city. He's got some buddies who've been on some banana boats with him in the past that might be able to find him a spot. But this is a bit of a rough situation. Curious situation, but a rough one.
All right, I got a question for you. So you asked, is James Harden a Hall of Famer? I said yes, because I'm only saying that because people say Chris Paul is. Is Damian Lillard a Hall of Famer?
And that's an interesting question. I think he might be in that, like, he was always like calling out that it was unfair that he wasn't on the All-Star team, or he missed out. He was, right down the end. He was always, fighting to keep Portland relevant. He was, he always, always talking, by goodness, that shot to say goodbye to the OKC Thunder those years ago, that was fantastic. But I wonder, if that'll be the story of his legacy as well.
Yeah. So with these three players, you got James Harden, Chris Paul, Damian Lillard. I need to ask you. You need to start one, bench one, cut one, career-wise. So all have been star players. All have not been able to get over the hump and win a championship. All are sort of in that Hall of Famer. You can have an argument around like what is their legacy. You could add Carmelo Anthony right into this list. Like that sort
Yeah.
of player. So keep one, start one, bench one, and cut one. James Harden, Chris Paul, Dame Lillard.
Okay, so I'm a team guy in the sense that, like, I appreciate what guys have done, in not just on the court, but in terms of the legacy to the game. And I think for that reason, I'd say CP3 would be who's starting. I just think that if you listen to the reputation that he has amongst guys who are playing, have played, and have retired, that the people speak so highly of him, and how he was able to bring teams back to relevance, transform them, and really impart leadership wise all the skills required for a team to succeed in the NBA, and turn fortunes around. I think James Harden is the one who I would bench, but still, I think he'll have a Hall of Fame career by the end of it. Individually, probably one of the most talented offensive players almost ever. And some would say the Luka before the Luka, the model, or the archetype, if you will, of what players are looking to become. Like, Shea has certainly taken a lot from James Harden, Luka as well. And I think, Damian Lillard will be that guy who is just a couple steps behind, unfortunately. Same with Carmelo, but
all right. Yeah. I mean, I agree. Oh, no, I don't. Something about Chris Paul just bugs me. I I will just say probably clearly that I'm a Chris Paul hater. Even when he was on the Warriors, I just think some of the hype. Okay, here's the winning percentages. James Harden, his career is a 64% winning percentage in the regular season. Chris Paul is 62% winning percentage in the regular season. And Damian Lillard is a 56% winning percentage. So clearly Chris Paul and James Harden are cut above. But if someone can comment below, and Lauren, if you can tell me, but what is with this Chris Paul hype? I'm old enough to have watched him in his prime. Why he's not the point? Like, is he in your top 5 point guards of all time? He's got this point god title.
I think in the traditional sense of who a point guard was designed to be, I think he was a point guard. The Lob City years were so much fun to watch. His intelligence was off the chain. And I think some of the stories that come out about Chris Paul are his intensity off the court as well, in terms of being able to keep guys accountable, the intensity of his practices, the way in which he understood the game, the level of detail that he had. Like, and I think guys that play around that they know. Like JJ Redick will say that he's like the sicko of all sickos, right? Like he just is so obsessed with the game and so competitive and knows how to get the most out of it. And is in a sense like my knock on James Harden is that sometimes James Harden just shows up and seems disinterested.
Yeah.
Seems like
Yeah,
he
I get
doesn't
that.
care. And it seems like he doesn't care in big moments. Like, and, maybe I'm wrong, but the eye test suggests that there are games when his intensity on both ends of the floor is not at the same level. And I think for Chris, he's orchestrating a game in which even if he's not playing to the same standard that he normally plays at, his intensity is still going to be there. And for that's what I think that is coming across from what I'm hearing is that the other guys who know what it takes to win at that level, they respect that intensity and that commitment to the game. And that's different to like the LaMelo balls. That's different to um, maybe even Damian Lillard in a sense, like, you know, maybe that's where it comes from. And to be clear, everybody is saying that he's a tough guy to like. He's not the most likable guy, but just like they talk that about Michael Jordan, Michael Jordan in The Last Dance says he wasn't there to be everybody's best friend. He was there to win basketball games. And so he would try and find what it took to light a fire under guys and make sure that they got the best out of them. And I don't know if James Harden is that kind of motivator for a team. Maybe he is, but I just haven't noticed it when I've been watching basketball.
Well, as we wrap this up, Lauren, I just want to put a bow on our Milwaukee Bucks. To put a spanner in our conversation, this might shock you. The best lineup in the NBA, the best points differential in the NBA that have played at least 100 possessions together is Ryan Rollins, AJ Green, Kyle Kuzma, Giannis, and Miles Turner. They have the best points differential in the NBA. So maybe they're not that bad.
Hopefully they can get back to it. But the trouble is they got to win some games without him. And
Yeah.
that'll be the big test. And if your star player, their on off statistics are that spread out, you're gonna have a rough go. Hey, we a couple weeks ago we asked who was going to be the first of 5 games in the bottom area of the Eastern Conference.
Yeah.
Which it was the Indiana Pacers. I'm pretty sure you said the Brooklyn Nets. You were right. The Brooklyn Nets and your Michael Porter Jr. have been leading the way. They picked up their 6th win recently, and Indiana just got their 5th. So you were
Let's
right. I got to
go.
give it to you. Got to give it to you.
Let's go. Thanks for giving me that credit. I completely forgot about that conversation that we had, but I'm glad you were keeping record.
Oh man, I've watched that first to 5 in the bottom there. It's like, oh man, poor Siakam, former Raptor. Come on, bud.
Yeah. They're gonna shut him down at when it's appropriate. I just imagine. I think everyone's clear what they're doing in Indiana, so no need to risk
Oh,
injury there.
before we go, we thought that in the East, the Boston Celtics would be doing the same thing. But you wanted to see more from Jaylen Brown? My
Yeah.
guy, you are getting more from Jaylen Brown.
Man, since that episode, they really turned it around.
Wow, that episode, he did score 45 that particular day, too, that you called him out. But
I called him out after without seeing those stats.
you called him out, and that game he had for that day, earlier that day, he had 45. But yeah, no, he must have heard you, John. He must have heard you because, yeah, the Boston Celtics have been fun to watch.
We had some telepathy going on, and yeah, man, the East is just, yeah, it's a bit disappointing. We also had a conversation about what team would fall off. We were talking Toronto or Chicago a few weeks ago.
Yeah.
They both seem to have fallen off. Chicago really has fallen off. Like, what has happened in Chicago since Kobe White has come back? They've really not done well. Like, them playing against the Warriors today, they just don't look like a well-functioning team.
Yeah.
And
I
then the
will say,
Raptors.
Toronto's lost a couple of games that could have been a little bit closer. They are 5-5 in their last 10, but they're
Yeah.
on a 3-game losing streak.
Yeah.
So it is
Everything
it is a
everything
depressing. I will say it is a depressing time to be in Toronto because you're at the start of the winter and it's already -11 and snow's coming, and you know it's going to be rest of December, January, February, March. Might be April by the time it gets a little nicer out there. So you got a long winter up north.
you
But
do, and you don't have much hopes in hockey, but all of Canada can be excited. All of Canada can be excited for the Winter Olympics, which will give everybody some sense of uh victory whatever the word is. Will give everybody a sense of victory.
that's if they get the NHL, if they get the ice rink going. Latest news is that the ice rink is behind schedule and they don't have a plan B. So there's a lot of nerves going into that part of the Olympic Games this year.
Hmm. Plan B is just played in played in Toronto. They've got the facility.
To send their NHL players there. Gee, that would be wild. Fly out to Milan for the opening ceremony. Go play your games in Toronto.
Toronto Airport could not handle that.
Oh man,
Worst airport in the world.
they would be hyped. They would be hyped.
Anyhow, well, Lauren,
Times.
it's always good to chat some hoops, chat some sports, and we'll see you next week. Is it in-season tournament this week? Must be.
It will be. Should be Tuesday, December 9th. So that'd be tomorrow.
Yeah, great.
Yeah.
Well, in our episode next week, we'll see whose predictions were right with the different games that we had.
Come on, let's go Raptors.
All right. Have a good one.
All right. See ya.